to have to decide to call 911, they're going to show up, and there's this black male here that is out of control, what's going to happen? Are they going to think that this person is life-threatening and take his life? I had to decide in that moment, God, help me. I'm going to call 911. The police came, and by the grace of God, they helped. They helped. But I know that's not always the case. I am Sharonda Victorian. I'm born in California, raised in Houston, then came back to California. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an auntie, I'm a grandma. And the journey that God assigned for my life, I didn't sign up for it. At least I don't think I did. But I can honestly say the journey built something in me that nothing else could have done.
My name is Maxine Chichi or Chinyere Okafu. I'm Nigerian. I'm actually from Dallas, Texas. I'm the middle child of 5 siblings, and we come from a single parent. My mom came here at the age of 20 to America. I believe African Americans are diagnosed more with schizophrenia than white Americans because one of the biggest things is culture. Remember, the person that is diagnosing someone is a human, right? And they're taking a lot of their experiences of what they've been through and, of course, with schooling to diagnose someone. So it could be a lot of misinterpretation, and I say misinterpretation with culture. For an African American, someone that may present as sad, someone that may be, let's say, a clinician that is not African American may perceive that as something else. They may perceive that as angry or mad. It just looks like a checkbox. You looked paranoid. You looked angry. You talked about isolation. That may just be you. I don't like to be around people. Nope, that's isolation. Oh, you were having, and I'm saying these different symptoms of schizophrenia. So there's a lot of misinterpretation culturally.
I believe that Black Americans are diagnosed more than white Americans is because there is this understanding or idea of when they see certain types of behavior that it goes straight to some type of illness and the diagnosis is automatic instead of really looking into the root cause of what the issue is. My personal experience with it was with my son. You know, he grew up as a normal teenager, right? You know, we had the teenage stuff that he went through, wanting to, miss curfews and not wanting to do schoolwork consistently. And, at that time as a single parent, we worked through that stuff. Yeah. But then when he turned 18, it was like a light switch went off and his behavior completely changed. He loved music, and then everything just shifted where he just didn't care anymore. And his emotions were flat. And that's what the doctor said. His emotions were flat. And within 5 minutes of him sitting in the doctor's office, the doctor said, we need to admit him to the hospital. And he said, and we're going to put him on all this medication. I was able to talk to my son and convince him that's not the route we're going to go. And we left with a prescription for 15 different medications for my son. And I think the lack of information in the Black community is really driving it to be allowed. Because for me, if I had pushed against the doctor, I would be confrontational. Even us saying we're not doing this and leaving was like, we're being confrontational. And it's not confrontational. I'm my son's advocate. Yeah. But in the Black community, it's like, it's not allowed. In the white community, I can see it as they're being knowledge-based, them being exposed to different types of treatment, and it being labeled differently.
When we think about trauma, we think about child abuse. It could be sexual abuse. It could be physical abuse. When someone, let's go down to the chemicals, right? Because with schizophrenia, yes, a part of it can be a genetic component. But just because you carry the gene doesn't mean that you're going to become schizophrenic, right? It has to do with an igniting. Think about a candle. Once that thing is lit now, it's on fire, right? So someone that carries the genetic trait, the genetic gene that my mom, my dad, my great-grandpa, whatever the case may be, I carry that gene. I'm at risk to become schizophrenic. But it's once that trauma hits that something has turned that thing on. I've had a kid as young as 10 years old that experienced the symptoms of schizophrenia because from a young child up to the age of 3, trauma. Parents were drug addicts. So even while he was born, the mother was on drugs, right? The dad was schizophrenic. So he already was at risk. Generational pain and things that they've gone through in life can definitely increase that diagnosis or even just the symptoms of schizophrenia with the person.
Yes, I stand in agreement. I believe that the generational trauma is a real thing.
I have a lot of patients where they're in their 20s, 30s, they may be suffering from something. And they're like, I didn't tell my mom because my mom said she don't believe in that.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe in mental health,
Yeah.
getting help, so they keep it a secret.
It's true.
And so now when I'm asking about past family history, well, I think my mom suffers from this. Oh, I know my dad suffered, but they're not diagnosed. They don't believe in that, right? And so because of your beliefs, everybody down the line that will come after your child and the next child, they all suffer because you decided to not get help. And that's how generational curses continue on, or generational trauma.
To have to decide to call 911, they're going to show up, and there's this black male here that is out of control. What's going to happen? Are they going to think that this person is life-threatening and take his life? I had to decide in that moment, God, help me. I'm going to call 911. The police came, and by the grace of God, they helped. They helped. But I know that's not always the case. They calmed him down, they stopped him, they de-escalated the situation. But that's not how it always works. And it's really sad because in the black community, when this is what I'm seeing, when black males act like that, it's always criminal.
Yeah, it's sad because it happens a lot. That happens a lot in our communities and even history, because a lot of people are not educated. If you think about the 1960s, you know, schizophrenia was more labeled on white women because of them working so hard that they would say they have become fatigued and become this into this place where schizophrenia wasn't scary at that time. It wasn't until later when the protesting happened with the black community where they say black power, oh, that drove black men into insanity. So now they label them black men are schizophrenic. Again, it goes back to cultural disparities or cultural misinformation that they don't understand that it looks a certain way. So I think that's where it differs, specifically in the police and the criminal side of things versus the clinician.
In my journey, I didn't find a support group, but I found YouTube.
Okay.
And YouTube actually helped me to get a better understanding of what's happening out there. But I didn't see a lot of faces that look like ours. So I would encourage everyone and anyone to educate yourselves.
Absolutely.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a, sit around the bonfire and get the information, because there's so many resources out there online and also potentially at your local church.
Yeah. And I know a big thing is that we want to be in a place that feels comfortable and see similar faces. We got to stop looking at the outside of us. And of course, again, cultural, all these different things plays a part. But help is help at the end of the day. But I know in California, there's a place called the Dream Center, and which I'm a part of as well. And they take people that have been thrown away or going through different things or been through the court system, and they bring you in, and you're able to live there. You're able to get back into life. Everything's free. So I believe there's Dream Centers in a lot of different states. I would tell our community that there are a lot of places that are available. It may be different insurances that are needed, but we have to go out there and search, right? I know myself, I'm a little different from other providers, but I do a lot of pro bono work as well. And I'm sure there's other people out there that does that as well, but don't give up. And also there's a lot of holistic approaches as well, vitamins and supplements. We have to start to take care of our body as well, because that's a generational thing too. So for our mental health to be good, we have to take care of our temple as well so that everything is functioning. So if you can't go out there and find a provider right away, you can do some things as far as fitness and watching what you eat, your diet, nutrition, all those play a part to your mental health. But I would say there's the APA, which is the American Psychological Association. Going on there, you can go on there. You can go on psychologytoday.com. There's DoxyMe. There's so many different formats or platforms that you can search for a provider and find someone. Just do it. Just get up and do it.
Well, the advice I have is not just for the person that's struggling with schizophrenia, but it's also for the parents, the moms, the dads, the siblings that are going through it, because it affects the entire family.
Yeah.
It's not just that one person. And as a mom walking through it, I remember the impact of carrying it myself, where it nearly took my own life.
Yeah.
Because of stress.
Yeah.
Because of trying to make sure everyone was good and not focusing on my own health.
So my advice is to stay grounded in
Yes.
everything that you do, right? To seek help.
Yes.
Everything is about information, and I think with our community, we lack a lot of mental health information.
Yes.
So like you said earlier about YouTube, there are resources online to be able to say, let me first get educated
Yes.
on what the problem is and then go out there and seek help. Don't be afraid to see someone for mental health. Do not be afraid. And I know that some people go through bad experiences, but don't give up.
Yes.
Even with therapy, one of the biggest triggers that people don't understand, especially here in California where marijuana is legal, is that some of these drugs can trigger schizophrenia, even if there's no genetic compound or component in your life. I had a young guy actually who smoked some marijuana, got it from the dispensary, and now he's schizophrenic because it was laced with something else or whatever. I had another young lady that went and got Adderall off the streets, and now she's schizophrenic and started to hear voices. Find that therapist until you feel comfortable with that one person and stick with them to get through whatever you're going through.
Yes.
But it's very important that you close the doors to your past to be able to look forward.